Season 7, Episode 2. So, April, here we go on our conversations, and there's no telling what they're going to go. And it's back onto this topic of, by the way, to fill everyone in, just in our conversation outside of being recording, or outside of recording. And there you go, letting Kentucky rub off on you in a bad way, good way. I'm indifferent. So I just got to fill everyone in. So she was talking about the word OIL, OIL, and some people say it certain ways, some people say it other ways. If you're in Kentucky or born and bred, anyways, you would say OL. All right, that means OIL. If you're northern states, Midwest, maybe Midwest for sure. I'll let April say. April, how would you say it?
Oil.
Which is probably the most proper way to say it. April has been in Kentucky long enough to not say it that way. April, can you say how you said it?
Oil.
Ah, you didn't say it that way. You didn't say it that way.
I said oil by accident. By accident. I refuse to pick up a Kentuckian accent. Like just last week, I was talking about shining, and I go shining, and I immediately pulled back and felt the need to explain myself and then vowed to never say it like that again because no, 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 no.
That's so funny. I mean, I've lived in two different places, in the South and in the Midwest. And in the Midwest, you definitely say the letter I. You say I, not I, but I. And even in the Midwest sometimes, but most often you say the ing. You don't drop the g, so you say ing. So shining. Not only do you say shine, but ning, shining. In the South, man, we just shorten everything and we just draw out everything.
We do.
But I definitely I've picked up that too. Like, I mean, being from here, I've lost a lot of it, but then it still comes out. To be honest, the first episode of the season, I said the word wash, and I still don't know if I said it right or not, but it was in my brain. You better say this right. Don't say it the way that people around here say it. Say what I
No.
guess most everyone else that speaks the English language would say. So, anyways, but I feel you. I don't know if I'm so actively not trying to sound like I'm from Kentucky or
Oh, I'm
that I live in Kentucky.
actively. Oh, this is an active thing we are doing. I refuse.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Refuse. Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
when you what is it? What's that saying? When you're in Rome,
No, no,
um,
no.
whatever
No, no.
that's.
No, no, no. Let's jump into this conversation today. I'm going to make sure I enunciate all of my words today. But we are in a series answering this question, what if? So many of us are in different places in our business. And no matter what stage you're in business, media can truly be an asset to you. So if you missed last episode, go back and listen. It was all about what if my business is failing and how you can still use media to navigate through a season that you feel is hard. Today, we're answering this question, what if my business is stagnant? Like maybe you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're not failing, but it doesn't feel like you're growing either. You have this sort of low level of frustration. Maybe just your energy feels off. You start second guessing things, you start second guessing ideas. Maybe you're wondering if people are paying attention to you, if people are interested in what you have to sell. We're going to talk about how you can use media to really reignite your business. We want you to move forward. We don't want you to feel like you're stuck, but we want you to feel like you are seen and heard and want you to really get your business moving. And so maybe you don't even know if your business is stagnant. How do you recognize if you're in a stagnant place? So I want to talk about that loosely, right? Because it can be defined in a lot of different ways, but loosely, maybe you are creating content and you're really not getting engagement. Maybe your engagement has flattened out. Or maybe you've been offering your products, offering your services, and maybe selling isn't where it used to be. Maybe you aren't feeling very inspired, like you're showing up, but you're not feeling inspired. Maybe you feel like you're just maintaining things. You're not moving forward, but you're barely staying afloat. And we're going to really help you today because we want you to know like this is not a season where I would consider it a crisis, right? It's tricky, right? It can become a crisis if you stay stuck, but you don't have to stay stuck. That's the good news. You can use media to help you go forward. Mitchell, why do you think businesses become stagnant in the first place? Because, like, when I think about stagnancy, it's not that it's something's broken, but I feel like something might need to be reimagined. And so, why do you, in your opinion, like, what makes a business stop reimagining things?
I got a bunch of stuff that's popping in my brain. One of them, and maybe this is not fun to think about or to talk about, but maybe it's, I love filming. I love it. I love getting gear out. I love the challenge of figuring out lighting. Lighting is everything. Audio is really important. And I love figuring all that out. But what I've noticed is when I do that continually, that light kind of dims a little bit. The eagerness to do it dims a little bit. And but I love doing it to the point where I want to do it every day. I want to do this for my livelihood. I love doing it. I love telling stories. I love pulling out stories. But when you do it for so long, even though you love it, you maybe it's stagnant. Maybe it's a little stale. Maybe you're that light. Maybe that polish is kind of rubbed off a little bit, and maybe you kind of get a little, I don't know, short with people. And if it's customer facing, or it's you're maybe you see a lot of FaceTime with your clients or customers in their homes or in places of business or whatever. Maybe that what's the word? When you have to follow up with your follow up, maybe that follow up isn't as sharp and polite, and maybe people are noticing that. Maybe that's kind of leading to the stagnant that you're going through. Um, it could be a lot of different things. Maybe it could be a bad experience with a client or a customer that's kind of throwing you off track. It's all these things, and that's even outside of sales is low. That's even outside of those things. Maybe because again, maybe business is great and you're pumping, and maybe the follow up isn't as sharp. Maybe it's not as quick. All the things. And I'm really interested to know what you're going to say to this because I have an idea, but I'm going to save it in just in case I need to use it later. But
No.
yeah, there's all kind of reasons why.
Yeah, I love everything you shared. And I thought about when you started talking, I thought about the word routine because you're saying like you just do what you're used to doing, right? So maybe you get stagnant because you're hiding behind that routine instead of really leading your business with vision. Like I think businesses become stagnant because they stop leading with vision. Like you talked about what people repeat, right? Maybe you're repeating what used to work. And even if it's not working, you're still repeating it. So it's making you stay in the same spot instead of exploring what could be
Mm.
next, what may be possible, right? And then as you're exploring these things about what could be next, as you're exploring vision, then maybe you might recognize that your audience or your client base has shifted a little bit, but your messaging to them hasn't shifted, right? Maybe you've outgrown your current strategy, even, right? Strategy works when we are at one level of our business, but so many business owners forget that as your business grows, as your business changes, as your business evolves, your strategy has to do the same thing, right? We're trying to do old strategy when we have new vision. That doesn't work either. And so, all these reasons contribute to a business being stagnant. But the good news is this: media gives you a space to reset in real time, right? You don't have to wait to do a full rebrand to refresh what you have to say. You can start today. So we can use media really to get you unstuck. Mitchell, how do people use media to breathe life back into their brand when things feel flat?
So let me answer that question with another reason why stagnant can being stagnant can happen. Maybe your market is changing. Maybe what was hot for the last 3 years has changed, and now the effort's still there, the light is still there, the polish is still there, but the market, you had nothing to do with it other than nailing it for the last whatever years, fill in the blank. But the market of that space is pivoting and is changing. So now you have to pivot. So or make subtle changes. What use whatever term you would like, but changes has to happen. A great way to use media for that is telling a story of how it's changing, changing to where it's from to where it's going. During that time, you could absolutely look like the expert. You know, these past 3, 5, 10 years of expertise in this with this product market or product service or whatever. But now you're seeing how it's changing, and maybe it's little subtle changes. But man, would you look like gold if you came out and said, "Okay, this is where we were. This is how I've noticed is changing, and this is how my business is going to change with it so that we can offer the best service and best product, whatever it is." So that is kind of a short illustration of how even when something is bringing stagnaticity, I'm trying to come up with like these fancy words, but I'm that's not even a word. But what's bringing that stagnant is something that's completely out of your control. The market's changing, possibly. Maybe this is the reason why. But you can use that to media. You could use media as a vehicle to help explain one. And there's all kinds of positives. You look like an expert, and also you can show how your business is changing and how you can serve customers.
Yeah, and you can also ask your audience or clients for input through the change. Because maybe you're like, things are changing and I don't know if I can wrap my head around all of it or if I understand all of it. But your people, your customers, your client base, just asking them questions can give you so much insight. And then you can use that to shift how you're showing up. You may even want to experiment with new formats, right? Maybe you've just been doing static posts for a while. Maybe you want to venture out and try some video. Maybe you want to venture out and try to create some posts that are more story form or more educational or maybe entertaining. I don't know, maybe behind the scenes, you have a really great sense of humor, but no one knows that, right? Maybe try to switch it up a little bit. You can use this media to refresh anything, refresh how you show up, refresh your message, right? So we want to go from just posting to posts. Like if you're answering the question, what if my business is stagnant? Let's not post just to post. Let's pause. Let's revisit our why. Let's think about how things are changing. And now let's create content that sort of reintroduces yourself to your audience. Share the changes that are happening. Share what you're excited about. When was the last time you let your people know what you're excited about? When you maybe you're offering a new product, a new service, something new is happening in your shop, get excited about it and share that. Tell people where you're headed. Like, man, we were here, but now this is where we're going. And we're excited for you to come along the journey with us. There is a popular gas station, which I will not name because they are not sponsoring this episode, but everyone loves this gas station. People, when they travel, go out of their way to visit this gas station and they rave about the bathrooms. That's all I'm going to say. And what I someone pointed out to me, which I didn't know, but when you're on the interstate and if there's a billboard with this advertisement for this gas station and if it's upside down, that lets people know that one is coming. And I thought that was brilliant because it's like, here's what's coming up next. They're excited about it. They're not waiting to put out content before the actual building is up and running. They're taking you along they're using something so simple as a billboard upside down to take you on a journey of what's coming. It's like, we're excited that this is coming and you should be too. And guess what? People are excited about that it's coming. And so use media to take people from where you are to where you're going. All right. I know you got something to say about that.
Well, I do. Uh, I love how simple is the best way to do it. I mean, how often do you get numb to um, when you're stagnant and you're trying to find something to do? Or you get around an obstacle or whatever that we're dealing with. The simple answer is the best. I love in the example that you gave with the gas station. And I mean, I lived in the Midwest for a long time. There was a gas station everyone loved. Over in the Southeast, you don't really have it so much, but I think I know the one you're talking about, but I'm not going to say anything. Um, but we can get so blind to all the media that's out there, all the commercialized things that's out there, and simply by flipping the billboard upside down, that would absolutely get my attention because it sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, on the highway, you're traveling 70 miles an hour, 75, 80, whatever, whatever it is. And you see that upside down sign, that would totally distract you, hopefully not too much, into paying attention to the sign, you know? Um, and I love when you see something like that, you think, of course, how come no one has thought about that? Or at least widespread anyways. So again, I mean, entering using media to help with stagnation. That's what I was looking for, stagnation. Um, uh, the simple answers, man. That's the best way to look at it. And also, when you're in the muck and the mire, when you're in the forest, you can't see the trees sometimes. Use whatever metaphor you want. So, and I mentioned it. I can't even tell you if it was this podcast or the one before, but looking at it from a third party perspective and looking down at it, you're able to see the whole picture, and hopefully you can use that and use creative ways to navigate out of that stagnation.
Yeah, and if you feel stagnant, we would love to connect with you because we want to help you realign, refresh, reimagine what your brand could look like using media. Stagnancy doesn't mean you're failing. Your people are still watching. Your voice still matters, right? And sometimes it just takes one shift, one story, one post, one reel to really unlock something special for your brand and for your business. So if you are in that season where it feels like things aren't really moving, listen, don't disappear, still show up. Use this moment as a time to reconnect with your purpose and re engage with your audience. Try something new. We will be honored to do this with you. You can definitely send us a DM on our Instagram. Make sure you are subscribing as well to this podcast. You do not want to miss any of these episodes. We talked about what if your business is failing, what if your business is stagnant. We're going to hit another one next week. You don't want to miss it. Share this episode out to every business owner that you know, because if you connect with us, let me tell you what's going to happen. Together, we
We
dream
dream
media.
media.